If the person has dropped foot, you found them? Oh, I gotta grow. I'm sorry. If it's above my head, I can't see it. Thank you, Maureen. Anyhow, so what I say, the problem is if they have no muscle tone in their legs, they get dropped foot. So when they recover, if someone has dropped foot, how do you think they're going to walk? Like on their toes, right? And you want to keep the foot neutral. So what we do, all right. Now what we do is we block the feet. Now this isn't even big enough. I would have to like use 2 on each foot to block it so it doesn't go into that plantar position. If you didn't have blocks handy, that's what I said to Maureen, if you didn't have blocks handy, you could use these. You could use sandbags, you could use rolled up pillows, rolled up towels, rolled up blankets, whatever you needed, this is crazy, but just so that you block the foot from plantar flexing. And when a foot plantar flexes and can't dorsiflex, we call that drop foot. Got that? So that's the position for feet. If the person has no muscle tone or decreased muscle tone or paralysis in the ankles, maybe a stroke, whatever they might have, if they go into that. If they have normal muscle tone, we don't need this because they can lift their own toes. Got that? Okay. Now, remember, I don't know if she went over there prior to this page. On page, let me give you a page number. 13 is a list of places in the body where bed sores may develop. So these things are, they're called sheepskin, but they're not real sheepskin. They're fake sheepskin, synthetic sheepskin. These things are called bunny boots. And what we can do, if we're worried that the heel might break down on the patient, is we can place in the supine position or in any position, and of course, we're not placing this over dungarees and socks. We're placing it on the patient's skin, but we could place bunny boots on the patient and Velcro them closed.
Socks and no socks?
No socks. My patients are in the hospital. They're not wearing jeans and socks. They're wearing a hospital gown. So if we're concerned that there's heel breakdown in this position or in any position, we can place these bunny boots, which are made of synthetic sheepskin, on the patient and Velcro them on. Got that? All right. So these are bunny boots. And these are elbow protectors. So same thing, if I was concerned that the patient's elbows were rubbing raw, I could place this on one or both elbows if need be. Got that?
Yes.
So generally you only see this in the hospital?
Yes, and only for patients that can't move on their own.
Gotcha.
Right? If he can move on his own, I wouldn't be worried about bed sores. If you're really concerned about the heel rubbing, the other thing you can do is you can take a towel, roll it up, place it under here so that the heel doesn't rub. If you look at a patient, the skin is red, raw, breaking down, this is a little bit high. I don't have a smaller towel, but maybe I'll make it a little less. But I could have the patient, the towel roll under the Achilles tendon area, and this way the heel is not rubbing on the bed. Got that? So we position him supine the standard way, one pillow under the head, a second pillow under the knees. If we're concerned about drop foot, I can place blocks, I can place sandbags, rolled up pillows, blankets, towels, whatever I have to keep the foot up and dorsiflex. If I'm worried about the heel, I can put on the bunny boot, or I can roll up a little towel. If I'm concerned about elbows breaking down, I put the elbow protectors on the patient. One thing I want to tell you is why we're putting the pillow under the knees. It's so that the legs can be flexed. And when the legs are a little bit flexed, it takes pressure off of the lumbar spine. It relaxes the lumbar spine and puts it in a position where the lumbar spine isn't arched so much, it's a little more flattened. And that takes some pressure off the back, and hopefully you won't get a stiff or sore back if you have to lay in bed for a long period of time. So anytime we position supine for treatment, we put a pillow under the head, pillow under the knees. This other business of drop foot and towels and bunny boots, that's for the bedridden patient. So that's bed positioning versus treatment positioning. Want to give you some additionals. If your patient had a stroke, in a stroke somebody is paralyzed on half the body. So if a patient had a stroke, you lay down with me. What I do with the arm that is paralyzed, I give him a pillow for that arm. These are huge. And I put something in the hand, whether it's a big a towel, in the hand like this, or I can use some sort of a comb. Okay, remember the big part goes by the thumb, the little part by the pinky, right? Pinky is littler than thumb, so the little part by the pinky. So I've showed you this for a stroke patient. We put the arm up on a pillow, and we give him something in his hand. A towel is acceptable. Or a cone is acceptable.
And once again, the purpose of that
Is to keep the hand open. Patients who have strokes have a lot of flexor tone in the hand. And what happens is the hand gets like contracted like this. And what happens is it becomes so stiff you can't even open it. And they sweat inside the hand, and the skin begins to break down, and they get open wounds in the hand. So you want to keep it open. I personally, unless they're going somewhere where this has to be output on, like a towel, because if they sweat, then the towel will absorb the moisture. This, a little plasticky, if they sweat, it may be a little uncomfortable. But for bed, I like the towel. If they're going somewhere in the wheelchair, the cone is fine. Now, stroke patients may also need the foot blocked for dropped foot. Now, for that patient, if it's a stroke patient, it's only the one foot that you block, right? Because they're only paralyzed in half the body. So it would be just the one foot you block rather than both feet. So far, so good? Who remembers from 2 weeks ago, what patient never gets a pillow under the knees?
diabetes. I'm sorry, missed it.
No,
Never.
who never gets a pillow because you're afraid they're going to get a hip flexion or a knee flexion contracture? The amputees, right. Right. So the only exception to this, what I've shown you, is that someone who is an amputee never gets a pillow under the knees to avoid hip and knee flexion contractures. I want to show you one more thing, and that is positioning of the patient who has had a hip replacement in supine. No, they haven't had the hip replacement in supine. They're supine and they have the hip replacement.